My name is Francis Balinda and I work at Mukono's Zonal Agriculture Research Institute, Naro, as a research assistant. And at the moment, we are at our urban garden demo, where we are demonstrating on small gardening technologies and how we can grow vegetables in small spaces, given the low or little or small spaces that we have in our home area, given the high population that has come and the urbanization. Why we encourage all farmers or everyone to grow vegetables in small spaces. One, it is advantageous that you'll have food. There is food security, which is an advantage for you as a farmer. And two, it breaks boredom. Instead of sitting on TV, you come out and then begin working in the garden by either mulching or weeding, and that is a positive thing. Also, it ensures that you have a balanced diet. Now, this balanced diet is as a result of eating the vegetables that you've grown to have dietary fibers and proteins and vitamins from some of these vegetables and fruits that you have grown. So it is advantageous in all those ways, and I encourage all farmers and all members of the community to at least grow some vegetables that you can plant in your small spaces. If you look at these vegetables, they don't require a lot. Okay, for example, this is a pot. This is a polypot that you can get from a hardware and then make it in this shape. As long as you can put soil and then put some little manure for nutrients, then you'll have your plants growing. For example, this is a tire. When you look at this, this is a vehicle tire. We've added value to it by painting it and then making it a garden. Otherwise, it would be thrown in the environment, polluting environment and burning it and causing greenhouse gases. But here, we've added value to it by putting soil in the tire. We put soil in the tire and then we've grown our vegetable. For example, this is called a green amaranthus or dodo, locally known. So we've planted it in the tire. The same applies to this. Okay, so you can have this garden together, and then you will not spend money buy vegetables in the market, but you will have vegetables readily available in your compound, in your home. Okay, and then that will save you money from going to buy vegetables in the market. And these vegetables can be actually this green amaranthus dodo acts as, or it is a perennial crop, because if you harvest these leaves, they'll keep growing. They'll keep growing. You can harvest for over 6 months. Now, these vegetables aren't grown solely, okay? Because when you see at every garden, we've intercropped with onions. If you see, these are garlic chives, and then we have some bulb onions here that are planted in our tire gardens. Why? These onions also help to repel any insects, because they always produce a pungent smell. So this pungent smell is a repellent to any insects that might come to act as pests on your vegetables. So basically, that's how we grow these plants here. But then I want to tell you about the soil. Now, the soil is very important for plants, but however, the soil has to be full of nutrients. The nutrients are also important for proper plant growth. Now, the soil is always mixed with sand, and it is also mixed with manure. And sometimes, if you don't have sand, you can use charcoal dust. Charcoal dust, locally also known as olusenyente. If you look at our soil here, it has some charcoal particles. Now, these charcoal particles are as a result of charcoal dust. So we mixed the soil with charcoal dust, and then we mix it with manure. Why manure? Manure is a source of nutrients for proper plant growth. But then charcoal dust also helps to allow aeration and water infiltration in the soil. In that, when you have mixed it with charcoal dust, water can flow within the soil freely. In that, water is not either flooded or the soil is not soggy. So that's the importance of charcoal dust in the soil or sand. Now here, this we call it a stair garden. So it has the first step, and it has the second step, and it has the third step. Now, all these steps are planted in we have vegetables planted on all these steps. Now, this is brick and mortar that we've made. Now, this is more permanent than any of these other gardens here. Why? Because this is durable, and it is in a design that it is very attractive, and then it is accommodating almost 20 plants. When you look at this, we have spinach down here with a tomato, and then we have onions there, then we have sukuma wiki there. So we have a variety of vegetables. Now, these vegetables can be harvested at any one time depending on which one is ready, and then you can always incorporate vegetable in any meal that you have at any time. So that's why we encourage you to please, at least you can get a small space in your backyard or in your front yard or anywhere around your home to have some small space where you can put any of these gardens. This is still a tire garden, like I already showed you. Now, these are spring onions. These spring onions are also grown on a tire garden. Now, these spring onions are leafy. We always harvest the leaves and we eat the leaves. So you may never run short of onions or of anything to cook in case you have such gardens. So food security is ensured, and also your diet is improved. It is always advised that at every meal that we eat, you need or you must eat some vegetables. So this would be the source of vegetables in your compound or in your backyard. Okay, so this is called a round food tower. Now, when you look at this, it has a radius of just about 3 feet. Now, making a circumference of about 6 feet. Now, on this only garden here, we have different vegetables intercropped together. Now, the good thing with vegetables is you can intercrop them. We have a sukuma wiki growing very well alongside a spinach, and then we have also spring onions growing alongside the spinach and sukuma wiki, all very well. There is no competition because the management is very well and is very good. So we have stones in the middle of this, so this food tower. So sometimes if we don't have enough water, we always pour the water in the stones. Now that water will saturate evenly, and during construction these stones came from below, so now that helps the water to be saturated around and evenly around this garden, in that every plant gets to have some water. So management of these vegetables is always very crucial. You always need to protect your vegetables against diseases and against pests. Now, how do you do it? We always encourage you to carry out what we call IPM. IPM is integrated pest management. How do you do that? It always begins with the culture methods. This is tobacco. Now, tobacco produces a pungent smell when you smell it. Now, every time there is wind, it will shake the tobacco, and the tobacco leaves will begin to produce a pungent smell. Now, that smell will help to repel away insects, which could be pests. Although some are persistent, but at least most of them will be repelled. So that's why we even have onions in all our gardens. We've incorporated onions and actually the leafy onions like leeks and springs, because they also help to reduce on the amount of pesticide that we would use in our garden. So it's a biological kind of control method for pests. For example, this is ginger. Now, ginger, some people choose to plant spices for themselves. Like we have another area of spices, but this is ginger, and ginger can be used. We know we take it in tea, so or in any hot water. So now, if you have a chance to grow ginger, you can grow it in your small garden at home. Now, while you're growing these vegetables in a small garden, there is also what we call agronomic practices, or some practices are a must. For example, if you're growing tomatoes, tomatoes must be staked in order to have a better produce. So staking is providing support to plants with weak stems. For example, If you look at the stem of a tomato, it is weak. It can grow creeping, but it is always good that you stake it, make it grow upright and against a staking stick. The other agronomic practice that I can always encourage is mulching. If you've seen, all our gardens are mulched. Now, mulching is important in two main ways. First of all, it preserves moisture in the soil. If you see the soil now here, it is very moist. Okay, it is wet. It means there is water in the soil. So always, this is what you do to test for soil moisture in the soil. As long as the soil makes a ball like this, then it means it is moist. So that is one way of how important mulches is. But also, when you look at our garden, mulches also suppress weeds. So you see there are very little or no weeds in this garden and all our gardens. So it is another management practice that you can't do away with. So you always have to carry out mulching. But also, when you look at our tomatoes, these have been sprayed. Sometimes it's always good to spray tomatoes because some diseases that affect tomatoes are environmental or they are abiotic. Because if the moisture, or if there is a lot of coldness or a lot of precipitation in case of rain, you're going to develop such kind of conditions where you have alley blight. Alley blight is fungal and as a result of as a result of precipitation or as a result of rain. So that's why spraying sometimes is uncontrollable, because you must do it because some conditions or some disease conditions as a result of environmental factors. So it also becomes a management practice in vegetable growing, for example, tomatoes. So you have seen all our tomatoes have been sprayed because we are preventing some diseases. And while spraying, you always need to find out, or you need to have knowledge on what are you spraying with. For example, we have, like I told you, have pesticides and we have fungicides. Now, fungicides mostly are for diseases or disease symptoms, and pesticides are for insects or pests. But now among the pesticides, we have the repellent pesticides, and then we have the contact pesticides. Now, the repellent pesticides, those ones are characterized with a bad or a pungent smell, in that they always repel away any insects that might invade your garden. Then we have the contact ones. Now, the contact pesticides are those that anywhere they land on a body or on any pest, they will kill it or they will cause some effect on its body. And then with fungicides, we also have the systemic type of fungicides. Those are the ones you spray on the plant, and it will enter into the system of the plant. Then there are those ones that we spray, and they say they are systemic. They are systemic, and then there are those that we spray, and they are curative. For example, you already have symptoms, and then you have to prevent the symptoms, so you will have to spray with curative fungicides. So basically, that's all about the vegetable growing here.